Welcome to Greige Against the Machine, the podcast where we celebrate the extraordinary talent and accomplishments of lesser-known and even unknown artists and creatives. I'm Lisa Catara alongside Justin Harvey, and each week we'll explore the minds and stories of the journeymen and women behind your favorite films, shows, ads, music, and more. Those who craft magic without the red carpet spotlight or public eye, because everyone has a unique story to tell, and sometimes the most inspiring voices are the ones you haven't heard yet.
Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to Greige Against the Machine, episode 20. Wow, 20. 20 of these. And I'm not even nearly through any of my friends list or colleagues list that I'd love to have on the show. As you can see, I've been trusted to fly solo again, which can be very unnerving. But let's be more encouraging than that. I'm going to get this right. I have a great guest on the show today, and he's a friend of mine. We met in 2017 doing some grunt work on the independent film. But before I introduce him, let me just really quickly, I try not to get into politics here on the show. I just want to send some really good energy out today because there is an awful lot going on, and I have a lot of friends and colleagues, and even people that I completely disagree with, who I wish the very best today, that we are safe, that we are smart, that we are clear in our messaging, and that we have a peaceful, wonderful celebratory day. Go Army. So let me talk about my friend here. Mark Anthony Williams is a phenomenal actor. Mark got on the scene in television and film somewhere around 1997. He is London born, then to Jamaica, Jamaica. And from Jamaica, he went to the Bronx. And from the Bronx, he went to Los Angeles. What go on? I'm going to try not to embarrass myself with Pat the One, but I can't not do it. He is an N.A.A.C.P Theater Award winner. He attended the University of Albany before coming to Los Angeles. And you've seen him. You've seen Mark's work. You've seen him in The Neighborhood, in ABBOTT Elementary, Grey's Anatomy, huge booking, Suits LA, Arnold's Caribbean Pizza, and he's got a lot going on. This is my friend Mark Anthony. Hello, I'm glad to see you on the podcast.
Warm, yes, Medea, I'm in the building today. What's going on, Lisa?
I haven't seen you in a while. This is why I love this.
It's been years since you left Los Angeles.
It has, and they're kind of flying by, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one fleeing Los Angeles.
I hear. Oh my God, where are you right now? You're in the middle of something. Where are you on the road?
West Berlin. I'll be heading to Jamaica on Tuesday to work on a project down there in Kingston for 2 weeks, and then I'll be heading to the southern part of the island, Black River, actually, for the Black River Film Festival. I have a short that I produced, and I'm also in. That's going to be screening that weekend. So I'm excited. It's all kind of coming full circle.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, you've committed to this for so long. It's the thing, I don't think there's any right or wrong. There's a wrong way. I think there's no really right way or direct path into being, successful in the way that we perceive successful, which is to be continuously working, Absolutely. But you certainly put the time and the effort in.
Yeah. This is year 31 for me in this industry, and I look. It was almost like going to college. I remember my freshman year, my advisor says, don't jerk off because you're gonna blink and it's gonna be over. And I'm like, yeah, 4 years is a long time, whatever. And so now this entertainment world that I've been in since 94, 31 years, and I can't believe I've fast forward 31 years already in this industry, so it's been wild. It's been a lot of ups and downs. It's been more up the last 5 years. So was it worth the first 26 years of struggling? Absolutely. Every blood, sweat, and tear, it was worth every moment of it.
So this is the quintessential question for up and coming artists of any genre, whether it's TV and film, painting, writing, whatever it is, architecture. What do you think ultimately makes it worth it to go through what we have to go through inevitably as artists to get to the place where we're like, that was worth it?
I believe it's what's in your heart. If I was attempting to do this to get paid, I should have quit 20 years ago, because the money, if you're coming into any genre and your only concern is the end game, you're gonna miss a lot of steps, and you're probably gonna take you a lot longer to get to that end game. So as long as it's based on passion and truth, and don't quit. because
Yeah.
you're only quitting on one person, and that's yourself. I mean,
I don't even know what that is. Like, to me, people say, what's your plan B? This was my plan B. Initially, for me, it was Broadway, but 9/11.
yeah.
I don't know that it's, for me, that it's healthy to have a plan B, because this is the first thing I think of when I wake up and the last thing when I go to bed, and I'm all in.
And again, it's your heart. How passionate are you about it? If you have a plan B, that's fine. But the plan B might prevent you from taking risks because you have something to fall back on. So if you get rid of 5 years in, I decided to get rid of the plan. I said, this is going to be it. And then before I started studying at House West in '99 with Bob Carnegie and Jeff Goldblum started the school, I audited because my brother was attending the school and his acting just was way superior than mine. And so I audited the class, Bob's class. You can audit a noon class. And I sat in the back and Bob said, how many people in here are willing to struggle for the next 20 years?
Literally.
And I said, did he say 20?
20.
5, 10, 20?
Yeah.
No, he was dead. How many people? And no one raised their hands. And so I sat in the back, and of course I left after, and I just thought about it for a week. How do you struggle at something for 20 years?
Right. And that's not to say, like, there's two different kinds of struggle. There, aside from, like, there's the struggle of just trying to get the momentum and earning the cred, the street cred, to be booked and all that and be gainfully employed. But there's also the struggle of shit changes. Technology changes. This industry is so unique in that way, like music, one new invention and boom, the whole thing gets shifted on its axis.
And so we never, and when I moved to LA in '95, I never envisioned any, like, the big shift for us was when our headshots went from black and white to color. We were like, oh, color photographs of ourselves.
I thought that was absurd, because to me that was Broadway. We had black and white.
We were looking at our black and white photos like, what were we thinking?
We
were broke and we couldn't afford color in the photograph.
That's true.
Once the pricing for that came down and that became normalized, then the internet came. Can you remember what it was like trying to get cast something with no internet? It was Backstage West, the new version. Every Thursday you had to go to the newsstand, get the Backstage West, see what was casting in the back, and get a manila envelope 8 by 10 and put your headshot in the resume. Don't seal it, because if it's sealed, they're not opening it. And when I subsequently got an agent in LA, one day I lived up the street in Hollywood, so I went to the office. They're like, why are you always here? I'm like, because I'm new, I'm in the business. What are y'all doing? I'm just being nosy. And they're looking at me like, well, help open these envelopes. So I sat there and I watched my agent, who's now a great casting director, Michelle Adams. What's up, Michelle? Mad props to you. And I sat there and I watched her and Crystal. What's up, Crystal? And they were doing this. They were opening the envelopes. Trash.
Yeah.
Trash. And I'm sitting there going, oh, so that's where those headshots went that I
That's very real.
And I says, that was frightening. I mean, all it took was headshot, resume, and either the garbage can or the pile over here on the table. And the pile, we got 4 or 5, and the garbage can was filled with everything else. So the business was a real wake-up call, and we didn't have access to people. We barely had cell phones in 94, 95. The cell phone was kind of around, but even then, you didn't have access to people. There was no social media where you can be like, Tyler Perry put me in something. None of that was happening.
Well, and for people of color at that time, if you had the affluency to have these things, to have a cell phone, to have this ability, then you got a head start on certain things.
You had a head start, and if you were here and you had your foot in the ground because you either jumped off in Chicago or in LA. See, when I started, I left. Everyone like, you got to go to LA to get in this business. I should have stayed in New York, because I would have learned the street soldier foot hustling of an actor in New York. I never got that. So when I'm on vacation, I go to New York and I tell my reps, I'm in New York on vacation, but I'm still actively working.
Yeah, I'm available.
Please, yes, I'm available. And then when I get those auditions and I go downtown and I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, this is, and you go to those theaters and you see people tapping and doing fencing and stage combat, and it's a different energy.
It
I'm like,
is.
man, I didn't
So
get
you didn't do any theater when you were in the Bronx?
no, because what happened is I graduated from college, SUNY Albany, fall of '92, and then '93 on. Here's what actually happened. My brother was at Maryland Eastern Shore, a school in Maryland, and he met a cat who was cousins with Mike McCary from Boyz II Men. So they started hanging out, and my brother shared with him that, hey, my brother and I, we want to get up out of the East Coast. We want to go to LA. We want to be actors. We just want to go. We just want to get into it. So one day my brother calls me and says, hey man, come down to Jersey. I'm hanging out with Mike from Boyz II Men. I says, what? You ain't hanging out with
You're not.
driving out of no Jersey. Stop wasting my time. Just get in the car, come down here right now. He gives me the address. I drive to the house. I'm like, oh snap, nice neighborhood. And it was Mike's mom's crib. Nice house, and we hung out. Mike was like, what do y'all want to do? We say, we want to go to LA and be actors.
Oh man, you had a mentor of sorts. You had someone to point the way.
He says, look, if you guys can figure out a way to come to Cali in '94, this was '93. Yeah, '93. He says, come out next year about
Hollywood was popping back then.
Oh yeah, they were getting ready to drop their second album. So their momentum was just growing.
Yeah, crazy.
And so we went to a few concerts. Concerts were bananas. So my brother and I made it out in '94. Mike picked us up from the airport, put us up at the Montrose in Beverly Hills for a week, took care of us, introduced us to our first agency office, and they signed us. And they, we didn't have no internet, so my brother and I went apartment hunting and got the applications, filled it out, and correspond with our new reps, and they went to the apartment building and got the lease, and we sent them the money and set it up, and we left, and that was it.
Can you imagine that process now, getting an apartment in Los Angeles? It's harder than getting a job. It is
the apartment we had was on Wilcox and Hollywood Boulevard. The rent was $780 for one bedroom. But that was
kind of high for then.
Oh, right. We like $780 for one bedroom. You crazy? Right now, that same apartment is probably $2,700
easily.
So
that's crazy.
It's the price appreciation for,
and that area isn't so great around Capitol. It's not.
No, it's not. They're desperately trying to clean it up and get it out. But as we know, what's going on in LA with the homelessness and all that.
I got to do an entire episode just talking about the homelessness crisis, and specifically California, because I still say we're still the highest attacked over our homeless problem. But it's a whole complicated thing that I don't think the public is really hearing what we're saying about what's causing it. But anywho. So when you got out to LA, did you jump into commercials? Did you jump into comedy? Because you do comedy. You're freaking funny.
I jumped into whatever was available. And because I had nothing on my resume, I mean, a headshot, you flip the resume over and the resume goes, not yet. So I just happened to meet some real cool cats, Eric George and Alan Mitchell. And they were from Newark. And they lived in the same building that my brother and I had our apartment. So we became tight. They knew other cats who were directors but in the music world. So I was PAing a lot of music videos back then.
Oh, God bless you. The stories you
I know. Because you're green, I was 20, I was 25. And so this was an opportunity to be on set. I didn't care if it was musical artists. How much are you paying me? Oh, I did that for the day. It was $150 for the day, $150 for 18 hours or whatever. But you're the grunt, you're the PA. Go get the director's soda.
Don't ask, don't tell, go get it.
Don't ask nothing. Go pick up the truck over here. Go to the hotel and pick up the director. And this is how we maneuvered around in the 90s trying to get. But I was like, okay, that space is cool for the weekend so I can make that money. But I get into the acting lane. And so because I didn't come with a lot of cash, I didn't have an agent. I didn't have any experience. I says, you know what? I need to get into theater. Let's go back to theater.
Nice.
So I discovered the Complex Theater on Santa Monica and Wilcox, which was a 15-minute walk from where I actually had my apartment.
You walked there? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's changed.
I mean, yeah.
No, I would walk too. I walk
Oh
all the
yeah,
time in LA.
absolutely. Not
All the
now.
time.
I mean, probably not. But again, we're talking about 95.
Yeah.
It's 97.
New Yorkers, we love to walk, man. We just,
We sure. Like I can make it. It's a 20-minute walk to the theater.
yeah,
And so because they had different theaters in there was always something going on, either
yeah,
a class or there was casting something. So I would always check the backstage west. And
nice.
so I started just doing theater. I couldn't afford to go to acting class. I said, just do theater.
That
The
is acting
non-union
class.
theater, that exactly the non-union theater, they're not paying you. It's just look, this is just self-promotion. So for me, that was a way to say, okay, if I can't get an agent, at least I can say to an agent, hey, can you come see me perform on
Yeah,
stage?
I'm working.
I'm doing something. I'm being
Yeah.
proactive. So
Yeah.
that's what I did for 10, 15 years. Just
What type of theater did you do?
Whatever I auditioned
Whatever.
for. Soldier's Play. I really enjoyed doing that play. The Airman from Tuskegee, which was an original
Nice.
play. I did
Yeah.
that at another theater in North Hollywood, but I did so many plays in the complex, and it's sad to see the complex go. Whoever owns that block, they just kicked all the tenants
Yeah.
out and they sold the entire block. I was at a theater across the street and I looked, and that little bodega that used to be on the corner that was open to the theater, gone. The complex is shut down.
Breaks my heart. This is why I really haven't been to New York in a while, because I'm terrified that in all those black box theaters, I can still smell them if I close my eyes and hear the sound. Like, I don't know if they're there anymore.
Yeah,
But
they're probably the small mom and pop theaters. Some will survive. You have to be resilient, especially after
For
what
sure.
COVID did to our industry. You
right.
have those physical bodies to come into the theater and sit down and enjoy your performance, and all that has been disrupted. And I don't think the smaller theaters never recovered.
No, it's too expensive. Speaking of amplifying, I have a guest. There he is.
What up?
Look who joined us.
Hello.
What's
I haven't
up,
stopped
Mr.
by
Harvey?
to say hi to Mark. What's going on?
What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Well, I would be so much better if they weren't tearing up my entire street and our water was shut off right now.
Oh, that's exciting.
Hence my tardiness today.
That's okay. Mark Anthony, Justin Harvey.
Justin Harvey. What's up?
Justin, you missed my attempt at patois, and I'm not repeating it. So
Yeah.
Really? I will go back and
It
watch it on
wasn't-
YouTube.
I don't think it was. You didn't get offended, right?
No, I mean,
Right.
it's better than some that I've heard when I go to audition.
Oh, like people who book Jamaican roles who are not from Jamaica.
Yeah, when there's an occasional Caribbean audition popping up somewhere, it's just I need to write a show about, because when you can speak something authentic and you hear some shrubbery, and it doesn't, it's not just Jamaican, it's every
Everything.
culture.
Yeah.
And so this ideology that the talent can't come from there, we need to manipulate the patois and insert it into someone else, it's an angst for me, because it has happened to me. I went in for a network show about a decade ago, popular show, and the cast was on vacation in Jamaica, and they were at a tiki bar, so they were casting the bartender. So I go in, I'm the last person on the list to audition, and I'm sitting in the waiting room and I'm listening. I'm going, all right, all righty. And I go in there and I do what I do, and I leave. And as I leave the building, someone comes out, Mark Anthony, come back. Oh, did I leave something? So I go back in the room and they say, we just want to see it one more time. No problem. I do it again. I leave. I don't get the part. Years later, I'm on another show telling this exact same story. And a young lady says, I was there. I did background on that episode. I said, really? Who did they cast as the bartender? And she said, I don't know. I don't know where this guy was from, but his accent was terrible. Some American guy, blah, blah, blah.
All right.
So this is what we're facing, because what it is, okay, you have the authentic accent, but your resume, we don't know.
Right.
But let's hear it one more time. So when we do find the guy, we could say, do it like this.
Or can we hear it one more time to know if we're willing to commit to the authenticity? You know what I mean? But it can't be authentic if the story is island, if it's Jamaican and the person isn't part of the story, then the authenticity kind of goes out the window.
Absolutely. Now, I have no problem with people trying to be Jamaican. I'm actually flattered. Matter of fact, let's go back to that story. I wasn't even born in Jamaica.
Right.
I was born in London to Jamaican parents.
Yeah.
But when I was 5, my 2 brothers and I got shipped to Kingston, and we lived there for 5 years. And so, from the age of 5 to 10, you're going to go through that. I'm sure when I landed in Jamaica and I went to school, they were like, who this look a Jamaican? Who this look a British boy? Because I was probably standing there with a little British accent, like, oh, my name's Tom. I'm in the UK. I'm here in Jamaica now. They're like, why? And then 5 years later, I moved to the Bronx, and the people in the Bronx like, yo, who's this Jamaican? Now I'm like, yo, wow, everybody good? Who's this? So I got by the time I got to the Bronx, but so that's how it happened. And because I was in Jamaica from, that's a very impressionable age from 5 to 10. You're gonna adopt all those nuances, and then you use them at your leisure,
Right.
And so I think I'm blessed that I was able to have that journey because I have different optics.
That is wildly diverse. Yeah.
In terms of that's my backstory. But I always fight for Jamaicans because I believe there's so much talent down there. I cannot wait to get there. And work on this project down there, and of course the film festivals. There's a lot of great people down there, a lot of distributors, actors, directors, producers.
Yeah, Jamaicans in Hollywood is booming, isn't it?
Needs to be, it just needs to be ruffled. The feathers need to be fluffed up and bring something.
Are we calling it Jollywood? What do we decide to call it?
There is a guy there. I cannot remember his name, but he has a Jollywood. I think is his thing in Jamaica. That he started. I believe he started like a museum.
And you are one of the founders of Jamaicans in Hollywood. So
yes. I started that group because I just wanted to bring awareness, because it's funny when I go to sets. Sometimes you don't know who's Jamaican because a lot of times when we come to America, we assimilate. We want to fit in. Right. So we don't know the next person is Jamaican until we hear a word and we go, "Where you from?"
Hey.
Oh, Clarendon. Oh, yo, what, brethren, what? And all of a sudden,
this is when I walk away.
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know what you're saying after that. I'm like, huh?
I said, you know what? A lot of us here, but we don't know each other. Why don't we just start at least with the social media page, Jamaicans in Hollywood, and let's see how we can grow it from there. Everyone who's Jamaican, just tap in. Yo, I'm here. What do you do? I'm an editor. Good to know.
So if anyone's watching who happens to fit this profile, find Mark Anthony Williams and please join that page.
So, Mark, let me ask you this: what do you think is the key for this group to kind of break through into the zeitgeist, or for any minority group that is kind of coming together? What's the key to getting through to that next phase of understanding from the industry itself?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. When I started the group, someone asked me, why not call it Caribbeans in Hollywood? I said, that's a very good question, but here's why that will still underrepresent us. They'll take a bowl, they'll put us all in a bowl, and they say, we need a Haitian. But if he's from Jamaica, it doesn't matter. They're the same people. Yes and no. Haitians are very unique. We all cook chicken. But if you go to DR, and if you go to Haiti, and you go to Trinidad, you go to Jamaica, the chicken is going to taste different.
Yes.
But everyone has their unique flavor. So if we say Caribbeans in Hollywood, they're going to toss us in a bowl and we're going to be in the same.
You're going to lose your culture.
How about this? Why not Puerto Ricans in Hollywood, Jamaicans in Hollywood, Haitians in Hollywood? And once we've all established our blueprint of how we move, our talent, our content, now we come together and say, let's have an award show for Caribbeans in Hollywood. All the Caribbean-based people.
And then the culture isn't lost, it's enhanced.
Something like that, you can now distinguishedly see Dominican, Haitian, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Aruba. You feel me? So now we have our place, but together, collectively, look at us now.
All right, just on the catering alone, I want to be invited to this film festival.
Food is gonna be ridiculous.
And I think that's a solid plan, though, because I look at some of the Latino community, and you do have those separate identities. Yes. Puerto Ricans have a separate identities. The Boricua community is separate. The Mexican community is separate. But then they can all come together under Latin culture.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So the lumping of us together won't work initially. Once we establish who we are and what we represent in terms of the talent and the content coming out of those specific regions, now we come together and say Latinos in Hollywood, because now it represents every single, you know what I mean? And it represents all the Caribbean-based islands. So now you can get to see, let's go see the films from Aruba. It's over here.
And then it's a cultural experience. Like now I feel like I've learned something.
Absolutely, because now we're actually sharing, because we've been allowed to say, this is who we are.
Right.
This is what we represent, and this is what our food and our culture looks and feels and tastes like.
All right, the idea started here, y'all. I see this. This is fantastic.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm working with some folks now who have that envision, what I just said, in mind.
Yeah.
So there's potentially a future platform coming that will allow all those entities to on and represent who they are. So I can't. They beg me not to say.
No, don't do it here.
We've been working on this for quite a while. And the pieces are coming together, and
I'm so excited for you guys.
Officially in progress. We'll leave it at in progress.
Something huge and exciting is coming.
Yeah, and look, in this day and age, we can all use some progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm thrilled it's from people in my tribe. Right. That makes me happy.
Yeah. I don't know what the end game in Hollywood is right now.
I think it's independent projects. I really think it's us. I think it's the 96% of us, which is what this show's about, who make all the things that people love and watch and save and buy, just carrying on without the big entities, without all the corporate red tape and all that, and without Wall Street. And
it just feels like the world of the independent content creator this is our time to blossom. This is our time to grow with the technology that they have now, that they want to use to replace us. Okay, we could kind of use that to replace you as well. I mean, if AI can build me a movie, why do I need to bring you?
That's it.
AI. I always tell people, oh, AI is going to replace us. No, it's not. 90% of the people don't want to see an AI represented movie.
Right.
And I think I've had this conversation with you before. If I decide to get into that space and master it, I'm going to use AI to create movies like Star Wars. That's I would rather see two dogs having a conversation in an AI movie than two adults. Right. If I want to see two adults, I'll cast you and Justin.
Right.
And so I think you're not being replaced. You just there's another lane that you're going to have to compete with, which is AI. It's not going to replace all of it.
But I feel like the audience that's going to really love AI and the way that feels isn't necessarily the artists that are the audience that artists want. You know what I mean? Like, are we really being heard? Are our stories really being received through AI?
Absolutely. I mean, is AI going to show up at the red carpet? Are they going to go speak to kids?
What are the award shows going to be like?
But realistically, to me, like, you know who AI can't be? AI can't be Siskel and Ebert. They can't curate. It can't have taste.
No opinion.
To me. And at the end of the day,
neither can
taste is still going to drive consumption. Now, if AI comes up with something good, and people consume it, what are you going to do? Like, hey, that is what it is. Yeah. But
it is what it is. And if
AI is reviewing AI, are the humans going to still pay for the product? Like, okay, the robot likes what the robot did. I like it.
Who's writing the reviews?
So to me, it's like, as long as everybody has an opinion of what is good to them, of what is artful. Yeah.
Our audience has so much power with their dollars and their attention. Like what they watch, they want usually more of. Except during pandemic when they were limited to what they could watch. But for the most part, people don't go see shows they hate.
We just can't let the robots curate. If the robot is the paintbrush, it's fine. We've all painted with different tools before. Sure. We've all used microphones. We've all used cameras. We've all used a paintbrush, a pencil, a pen, a typewriter, whatever it is to create art. Maybe the robot is just the next paintbrush. That I'm fine with.
As a
but
tool,
if it starts to curate and tell us what we like, that's where we have to stop.
I don't want 75 versions of like Dukes of Hazzard and every different culture curated by AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I want a new experience.
Exactly. And you cannot get a human experience from AI. I don't care how much information you feed that thing. It still does not have a soul. I don't care.
I need that.
No.
I know you guys do too. I need to feel that.
Exactly. You know? So, yeah.
So, Justin.
Yeah.
Mike Anthony Williams, we met in 2017. We won't mention the name of the project to protect the cast.
Please don't. I met some really cool people from that project.
Yeah.
The experience.
So many friends. I made so many friends on that.
The way you wanted it to. Me either. I mean, I went to battle every day over the content in that script.
You did. You fought for us.
And
it was an independent project. It was, smaller budget, smaller scale. So,
So
and I forget under the premise. I think the lead on that film reached out to me because the lead who was supposed to have my role booked something else or was preoccupied with what she was working on, and that's how I got that call. So I was like stepping in to save the day. It's like, what am I walking into?
Yeah. And I always look at projects like that. When you're going through that experience, you're frustrated. You want to you feel like storming off the set. You hammer through it, and then you sit back and you collect yourself, and you realize that experience was meant to happen. So you know what not.
I made
to
friends,
do. Right?
I really did.
Around, and so I always look at the positive. Yeah, the experience didn't turn out. The film didn't turn out anywhere near what I had envisioned, which I thought was a much more provocative and thoughtful story, instead of the goofiness and the clowniness that you saw. And that was the reviews that I got every time they screened it independently. They were like, we don't know what that was, but we understood this part of the story.
Oh, interesting. All right.
I wanted to spread that to the infected part of the story, which didn't make any sense to me, which was just not needed if you're telling the story that we were telling. But
so you were part producer on it as well. So you were butting heads.
No, I didn't want any producer. I didn't want a producer credit. He came to me with the script, and I says, I want to add this element to it because I think this would make your story better.
Yeah.
And when he
read it,
it was a collaborative effort, and creatively we just didn't agree. So we went with his version of the script, and you saw the final results of that.
Now this is an independent film, so I want the people that are watching this podcast right now to understand, because you blame us when shit sucks at the theater and on your television. There are so many decision makers and so many hands and eyes and ears that these projects go through. Whatever the end product is, we only agreed to the work on the contract in the context that we auditioned for. We have no control over the final product whatsoever.
Well, there's time, ability, and money, but then, like we were just talking about, there's also taste. And people have different tastes, and sometimes they come together, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the budget comes together, sometimes it don't. Yeah. Sometimes the timing works, sometimes it don't.
In terms of like a difference of a viewpoint, I can't get mad at that. I'd be a hypocrite, because that's the thing that I love about humanity is how different we are and how we bring different perspectives from our backgrounds. Like that, to me, unlike a lot of the people that I live around this area, I love that part. I like to grow and expand and learn new things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And sometimes at the end of the day, somebody's going to get their way. Somebody's got to get their final. Somebody has to make the final decision. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely. It's a business at the end of the day, and the people cutting the checks feel that they have the final say. And
since that project, I made a great friend. I got free comedy shows from him.
Absolutely. I got
good free comedy shows.
And we just keep it moving, and we grow, and we do more projects, and we expand from there. So the independent world is going to grow. I think people are going to realize, hey, we have more power than we think. I mean, come on now, people are shooting movies with this thing.
Right.
Great. Have you done a vertical film yet? I haven't.
No, I've seen those. There's websites. I've never. When I heard the term, I
just can't imagine.
I mean, I know the vertical soaps are killing it. They are gangbusters. They're making money.
Those, and people are watching. There's a bunch of them out there now that are really. Some of them are cheesy, but they're still big. Because again, all they need is 7 minutes of your time. Just give me 5 minutes to show you. Yeah, some of them are real short. Some of them are like
really
5 minutes. Some are 8 minutes, and you can watch a series. The first episodes will be 7 minutes. The second one is 15. Next one is 8. It doesn't matter. No one is worrying about the time. The shortness makes you go, I got 7 minutes. Oh, okay. I want to watch the next one, but not now. I got to do this. I'm gonna give you my 15 minutes, and you keep coming back because
you don't miss the peripheral. You don't miss the. No. What am I trying to say? The environment.
So that space is growing, and it's from all over. There's so many different people doing that. It's different languages. It has grown, and there are actors making a lot of money.
Oh, I bet.
And I think that, I think when the MP3 was introduced as a form of technology, was the first time in a long time, especially in America, where technology actually went backwards quality-wise for the first time. But because of convenience and ease of use, the MP3 became very, very popular, almost killed the music industry that I was in at the time, but also kind of helped save it because the marketplace said, hey guys, that audio fidelity that you're talking about hasn't really improved in the last 30 years. It's not getting better than the last Beatles record that was ever made. Yeah. So now what I want is convenience. You're telling me I can put my record library in the palm of my hand. I want that more than I need high fidelity. And I think you're getting that with certain forms of other content too, where it's like a soap opera. Come on, are we really watching soap operas for the cinematography? Heck no. But for the acting, for somebody's performance, for how they interact with somebody, for a juicy storyline, there's reasons why we're tuning into that type of material, and that can be represented pretty well vertically. And then also, one of these youngsters coming up might find the way to make it more, cinemagraphically appealing or whatever the word is for it, but like visually interesting in a vertical format. I haven't seen a whole lot of that yet.
That actually makes me wonder if a show like, the two that are thriving the hardest, General Hospital and Days of Our Lives, if they have somebody there in a vertical format who's filming alongside the cameras that are already there to translate to that medium.
Or like when we first switched to widescreen HD, I remember I was working in TV and reality at the time doing a show called American Hot Rod, and we were going HD for our final season on Discovery, but we had to shoot in 4:3 Protect. So you didn't put anything exciting in that new frame. You were still framing this way, but you were keeping in mind that now all this and this is here. So you can't have a light stand over here or whatever. So we're shooting both. Now maybe there's a world where you shoot General Hospital, but it's got a 16:9 Protect in the middle. So you're very narrow, and everything out here on the margins is just set. And not faces and not important. That's a tough squeeze to get really this much.
Yeah. So now it's almost more of like a film experience because everything's exposed. You can see the raise of an eyebrow or a flutter of a lip. Like it's so in your face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting challenge.
That space is growing. Again, people are just not going to sit around and go, okay, we're going to wait for you to pass a bill that'll get us back to work. No, people are
it's not coming back around, guys.
Y'all take your time over there. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna shoot this thing, and somebody's gonna take it from us.
Well, so Mark, if you have that 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid that's getting ready to do film school or just coming out, and you are mentoring them, what direction do you push them in? What's the advice? What's the thing that you would inspire a new person coming into this whole world to do? The young filmmaker, the young actor.
I would advise them to try everything. I just went to a friend of my frat brother. What's up, Amato? His daughter just graduated film school, UNC. And so we went to see the screenings of all the students. They are doing
crazy, isn't it?
These young people, their mind. I'm so excited for them because I think they are more advanced than we were because of the availability of technology. Yeah. And so I would advise them to try everything because one of them is going to come out of there with a style that everyone's going to want to emulate.
Yes. But I see it like even on Instagram. There's
It's just
people
the
on Instagram
macro.
that do it.
Yeah, it might be one person, it might be a team that comes together, but it's coming and they're gonna blow us away and we're gonna go, whoa, we want to work
Oh
with this.
yeah.
We want to do it the way y'all. We're gonna be coming to y'all for advice on how to
Yeah.
do it that way because they're more advanced in terms
And their attention span is more akin to the audience that's
Mhm.
consuming right now. There's a couple kids. There's one that I was watching on Instagram who does pretty much car shoots. Like he'll do a short car commercial from people who have nice cars. And you turn your phone sideways and he gives you this amazingly edited commercial. And it's something I've never seen really before in that format. He will do well.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would advise him. Don't quit. Try everything, even going back and using our style of shooting. You might discover something from the old version that you can, infuse with what you're doing to create a new nuance or new style or feeling that has never been seen or reached before. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe this shift is good because it forces you now. When I moved to LA, I didn't want to do anything else but act. I did not want to write. I did not want to produce. I did not want to direct. And I've done all four. Yeah. Sometimes you're forced into another lane. And then you discover, you know what, this lane is kind of cool. Like the first thing I wrote, when we finally screened it, I said, holy crap, this was in my head a year ago. And it's on the screen. Yes. It's a great feeling. And then when I wrote the next one and directed it, it was even a greater feeling because of what I had to go through. It was 11 minutes short, and the pre-production was 3 months. I'm like, why are we doing it? Why is this? She sat
make no mistake. If you're going to do a short, do a feature. Same amount of work.
So Monica Worthy, what's up, Monica? She sat me down and said, look, I'm not doing no bullshit. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Let me show you how to put your shot list together. So when you get on set, the cast is not standing there looking at you because you don't know what the hell you're doing. Right. And so once she walked me through that process, I said, bet. The night before we shot, I says, I want to do a walkthrough of the scenes we're shooting tomorrow. So I got the actors together and I set up the living room like the flower shop that we were going to shoot in. And we just did a walkthrough. They held the script and I had my DP and I said, I want to be here for this moment, And we all took notes. So when we got on set the next day, everything, we already laid it out. I wasn't standing there going, should we put the camera here?
We were like, you knew the choreography.
We rehearsed it. Yeah, let's boom. And we set it up and we just shot in the days. Just
I'm telling you, plan and get those storyboards. And when you're on set, new directors, please don't add just stick, for the most part, stick to the storyboard unless something changes beyond your control, like losing light or whatever. Please use those storyboards. It really helps.
And I don't mind the talent playing because that's, everyone brings their own interpretation. You might have your version when you wrote it, but when they show up in the room, you might go, oh, that's not what I envisioned.
The best part
better than what I actually wrote. We're gonna keep that. Matter of fact, we're gonna cast you because you're coming in the room with something very interesting.
Love that.
It's growth. I never wanted to step into those arenas. They're very the writing arena is very difficult. I'm working on a project now, a novel that I optioned, and I'm still working the nuances of the script based on the novel.
To be a series or a film?
No, a feature film. Yeah. So I got folks waiting on it and they're waiting on me because I'm having hiccups, but I don't want to just go. I don't like to rush something and go, here, read it. And you give me notes. No.
And look, that's a good problem to have, though. Somebody's actually waiting for it on the other end as opposed to you're doing it all and there's nobody on the other end.
So the pressure's on. So I'm working my due diligence and getting that going. But writing is hard, but writing is very fulfilling. It's very expressive.
I have a colleague of mine, he was an actor who became a phenomenal writer for television. He's been working for years now. And, through pandemic and the strikes, he was gainfully employed for the most of it, except for the strike for the writers. But making that transition, he's thriving now. And even like just yesterday, he posted something like, I am driving home from work at 8 p.m. and I can't believe I get to live this life. He was telling me, he's like, with my makeup, he goes, you would have a voice. I think you would be really great at this. I'm like, the thing is, like, I can write. I I need people to write with, because I can't do the screenplay format, the thing.
Right.
Like, it's not in my, I don't have it. I've tried to learn it. It's not organic, but the ideas are fast, never ending.
Absolutely.
So,
and
yeah,
so
writing is rewarding
that's
for
the
sure.
challenging part for writers is if you're in that space, that mentality where you feel you need a team, that's the most difficult part. It's putting that team together, because everyone has creative juices. And if we all collaborate on this and it falls apart, then who actually owns it now?
Right.
But if I take it and I go get a deal, now I got to worry about you two going, remember we collabed on, like, that's still part of
that's very real.
that. It gets messy. It gets muddled because
We don't like this gray. The gray areas scare me. Whenever there's gray area,
story byline and a written byline, though, because they can be very different things. Like, a bunch of people worked on it, and that is their story, but they didn't write it.
Absolutely, and
it
so
happened.
The writing world gets. I've been through a couple of those arguments and fights over the intellectual property and stuff, and it gets messy.
Yeah. I try to avoid those gray areas, but sometimes they're inevitable. And with this evolution of technology, I find like there's more gray area that we really need to get solidified in terms of rights, intellectual rights, creative rights.
And sometimes you have to take one on the chin to get it to the next level. Like, I sold a TV show script that Ashton Kutcher maybe wrote 3 jokes in. And he collaborated with us a little bit, but he's got a full writer credit on there. He didn't come up with that story. He didn't come up with those characters. And I love Ashton. I'm not putting him down. Like, the man did me a solid. But at the same time, like, if we're really talking about who wrote that script, but I got my check and my name was still on it and it was above his, but his was on there for not the same amount of work.
Having that collaborative connection doesn't hurt. So.
Absolutely. And then you can use that to say, hey, I just worked with such and such, and now I'm over here working with such and such. So,
and his creative energy was invaluable. The actual physical stuff that went on the paper had nothing to do with him, but that energy that he brought into the room and him laughing at our jokes and our ideas. I mean, I can't say that didn't influence the project.
Absolutely,
immensely. And would I have gotten a check without his name on it? Probably not.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
You know, so and it's just weird because it's like you're offended, but you're not offended at the same time. I'm sitting there like, man, love you, dude, but you did not do this. Why are you getting what everyone else is getting? And it's weird.
I don't know if he's like whipping it out at parties saying, oh yeah, did you see this thing that I produced or wrote on? I don't know.
True.
It's fine.
No, that's me.
I get it though. Believe me.
Outside of that, his name holds a lot of weight. The fact that it's attached to the project brings a lot more weight than his influence in the room. But
your focus is always going to be acting.
Yeah, I love that space. I will always support that space because that's where I started. And
so good.
My desire now is to create content, especially Jamaican content. I feel there's a lot of untapped talent there. And the opportunity to potentially work with some talent on the island is exciting because again, I've never done a project in Jamaica. And the fact that I have a short in a film festival screening there also is it's the universe. It's calling me. Go down and do some work, brethren. Go meet some people that am right. I'm producing.
Your accent's about to go off the chain.
Yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a great experience. And there's a lot of talent there. We just need to find the right vehicle, the right avenue, the right setup, the right scenario, the right timing, and I think we can create some really interesting projects to come out of there. You know,
don't underestimate too, like as things have fallen apart with making way for new Wall Street gains for AI technology, there are producers who have nothing to do with ANPTP who are looking to invest in things that are new and exciting that have different voices.
Absolutely.
That's what that is.
Exactly.
So invite them out to have some authentic Jamaican food,
let's everyone likes to come to Jamaican vacation and shoot which is fine, but
take them to the dangerous parts of Jamaica.
I mean,
give them the authentic experience.
the whole experience is authentic. And the thing is about Jamaica that for me, I don't know 98% of the island. Even though I lived there for 5 years, I was only a child, but all I know Kingston, where's my mother's from because I live with her parents, and I know St. Elizabeth, which is where my father's side of the family is from, and I know Treasure Beach because my family is also there, which is not too far from St. Elizabeth, and Black River subsequently. So those are the only places everyone knows: Ocho Rios, Negril, Kingston, and that's it. No one goes to St. Catherine. No one goes to Port. I didn't know we had horses in Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
I had no clue.
Someone was downright cowboys out there.
In Jamaica, there's no way you went horseback. Jamaica doesn't have any horses. They're like, okay, you obviously don't know your own island, but there are horses. People have ranches and stuff like that in Jamaica. So there's a lot of unique things about Jamaica that is underrepresented. All we know is the places to drink, jump off of Rick's Cafe, and violence. This is all they talk about. This is all Jamaica.
Time for a location scout.
Yeah,
database of all the cool
other
stuff.
Unique places and things to do that just never get represented because there needs to be that engine who's going to say, you know what, let me take you to somewhere unique. Like when I go to any Caribbean island, my number one thing, even when I went to Brazil, I want to go where the locals are at. But it's dangerous. Are you from there? Yes. Let's go. Let's go.
Right? I do the same thing. I walk right up into the favela. I want to know, and I've never had a problem either. Never.
Yeah, when I was in Rio, I got invited to the favelas, and I says, "Yeah, when are we leaving?"
They can party. Oh my God!
Like, you insane? You can't go. Have you seen City of Gods? Yeah, but I'm going to the favelas because I'm rolling with people who are from there. Yeah. So I didn't have a problem. Even though, as you're going up the hill, you hit a corner.
Yeah, I know the corner.
You can't see around the corner.
It changes.
So what they do, those little pockets, they set up there's a booth built in there. So as you're coming up the hill, you can see the guy clearly with the shotgun, but he also has a vision up the road. So he can see he can see who's coming up.
You're like, we are.
But as you're driving up, all you've seen is a dude just sitting there, and everyone has a shotgun in Rio de Janeiro. There's a guy in the supermarket with a shotgun. There's a guy outside the apartment building. Like, you can't walk into any apartment building and just finagle your way to the elevator.
If you know the culture, you understand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. The same thing when I was in Haiti. My friend and I, we had a fundraiser after the earthquake back in 2011 and visited an orphanage, but we had to fly into DR because you couldn't fly into Haiti because the airport was shut down. And so it's the same feeling when I was in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, madness. It's just there's stuff going on all the time. You just have to watch yourself in Port-au-Prince because that's where the bus dropped us off after we left DR. And the UN had a massive compound across the street. There was troops from all over the globe, was all over the place. But we stayed 45 minutes north of Port-au-Prince. It was called Petroville. It's where we stayed. And so as we're driving up there, my driver says, you see that mall right there? You can go in there and buy a $50,000 Rolex right now.
Okay.
This is a year. Like the next day was the 1 year anniversary of the earthquake. And I kid you not, it looked like the earthquake just happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were doing over there for an entire year, but the Haitian people were Americans getting ready to have a concert the next day, and the Haitians were still digging out bodies.
Oh, so messed
up.
So
we drive past this mall. He says you can go in there and get a 50. I said, who in Haiti can afford a $50,000 Rolex? And he smiled and said, do you know how many millionaires live here?
Oh wow!
There's over 300 millionaires living in Haiti, and then you have to pause, and you have to think about how Haiti has been presented to you in the media versus what's going on once you hit the ground. And that was one of the motivating factors for me to want to go there, because every time I saw Haiti on the news, it wasn't a Haitian with a mic. It was one of us telling the world what was going on there. It wasn't the locals. I am nosy. Let's go. I want to go see this for myself. So that's one of the reasons that compelled us to go.
Part of it
is because we wanted to hear and see what was going on and talk to the local people, what was going on in Haiti. Sean Penn, God bless him. He did a tremendous job, but he cannot. That's just one unsustainable. And I think they were all just sitting back, just waiting for him to run out of money and go, I can't do this anymore. This is not sustainable. After we drove past the ball,
I think we might have a little lag.
Yeah, a little lag.
We're frozen. I'm the only one that's not frozen. You two are frozen. It's still frozen.
Oh, that's funny because he looks frozen to me.
Yeah. You guys are both moving like this.
Same.
You guys are like, yeah. So after we drive past the mall, he says, let me show you a part of Haiti that you will never see in the media. And we drove up into the mountains of Haiti, these beautiful mountains. You can literally see across the Dominican Republic, and it was just these rolling. I wish I had photos with me right now. These beautiful rolling mountains of Haiti. These little pockets, these little towns like we have in Jamaica. You'll go 10 miles in, and then you'll run into like a small village. These beautiful children, the people. And you never get to see that part about Haiti. All they show you is Port-au-Prince. Imagine saying you're moving to Los Angeles and all they show you is downtown LA where the homeless are. You think all of LA County is like that.
Right.
Like in 94, when I told people I'm leaving New York to go where? LA? And I think Menace to Society had just come out. So now everyone is freaking out. Everyone thinks that's the entire Los Angeles County. Brothers is driving around doing drive-bys and shoot 'em ups and low riders and blah blah blah, and it's just so untrue. And that's why I love going places, because I need to see it for myself.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, authenticity. You want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we love storytelling. So we're at the end of our hour for Instagram. I know it always like that.
Wow,
it's always like that. But I want to make sure we cover everything that we want to cover here, including like, I know you have so much insight as to like what's happened, all the changes that have happened in the past 30 something years and where we might be heading. Do you have a final message that you can impart to everybody? Well,
my final message is go with the flow and discover where you could make a change. Not just a shift in the because of what was going on in the industry, but a shift in yourself, because that's what it's going to take to make that adjustment. It's very strange to go for. It's very unfamiliar if you've never stepped into that space before. Like what's happening right now with America, immigration, what's going on between Israel and Iran right now. Even prior to all of this, what's happening today, June 14th. A lot of people have been talking about leaving America.
Yeah.
Just getting. I just read something on CNBC where in that new bill that Trump is trying to sign, it's going to penalize international investors who invest in the stock market. So they may pull out.
Right.
They have 19 international investors have 19 trillion invested in the stock market, and another 19 billion. I'm sorry, I said trillion, billion, and another 7 billion in another class asset. And so now our politicians are thinking, look, if those people pull that money out of our market, what do you think is going to happen to the value of our stocks? So there's a lot of this, let's flee America narrative that's floating around. That's fine. If people choose to leave, God bless you, leave, because people left and came here. So there's nothing wrong.
Right.
You know what? I need to make a conscious shift in where I set my roots down, because this lane right now just feels very vulnerable.
Sure.
And so once you decide to make that shift, now how can I use the technology in the world that I'm in to assist me in that shift? Because you may decide to go somewhere else, and that technology, bro, we're 30 years, we're not gonna
Right.
get 30 years. So you starting over here, you know, or you may go somewhere where the technology is functionable, and you're like, I can make some money off of this. I can set up an infrastructure
in
here.
essence, be like water. Go with what's happening. You can't fight the changes. Just find yourself.
That's what Bruce Lee said. And
Be water.
Be water, my friend. Yes.
Well, I have no doubt that you're going to be in this fight as an artist and a storyteller, and I know we will too. And I'm going to have to ask you to come back on the show at some point when you can announce the things that you've got going on.
Absolutely.
We want
You
to
were
hear
our 20th episode, so that's a big deal to us personally. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's
And
nice.
thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Please follow Mark Anthony Williams on social media. He's all over Instagram. You can find the man.
Yes.
And, you know, big announcements coming up when you can.
Yes, I'm excited about those. So
we will have you back when we can to spill the beans and to let that grow. But if you're Jamaican in Hollywood anywhere, this is your guy.
Yeah. What's up?
Awesome sauce. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, Justin, for popping in too. I know you're busy. And we will catch you on the next episode of Greige Against the Machine. I love you, brother.
Dear. Love you too. Take care, y'all.